There we have it. It's official. He is from another planet. Tadej Pogacar crashes, comes off the road, rolls into a ditch, rips the lycra from his body and still wins this race with enough of a margin to celebrate for the final kilometre, winning it for a third time, the first to win it back-to-back, the first man in history to win as world champion. An incredible day for Tadej and an incredible day for all of us watching, because for once we had some doubt, Nathan.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean,
yeah, I guess so.
But he still wins.
Yeah, he still won in the end. But after that crash, you know, anything could happen. And if it weren't for Tom Pidcock following in on Santa Maria, we wouldn't have had ourselves a race.
I think neutral fans everywhere are worshipping at the cleated feet of Tom Pidcock today for giving us a race, because it was an incredible ride from him, Adam, wasn't it?
Incredible. I think that's the best I've seen Tom Pidcock ever. He won this race a few years ago solo in a very long-range attack. But today, coming up against Pogacar, there's not many people who have been able to do what he's done. If not, probably the only one that's been able to go toe-to-toe with him in a race like this, not a Tour de France. So, yeah, huge credit to him, because, yeah, he even waited for him, which I was just thinking then as we were watching this a little bit then, it's the right thing to do, but you can start to now look back and start to maybe criticise Tom's ride a little bit, but focusing on the main thing, he did an amazing ride.
Yeah, he did. We can look back and criticise. I was quite vocally criticising at the time. Maybe we'll get to that in a moment. I'm not entirely sure about that waiting. However, we said at the start of today, Danny, that the only thing really we could foresee standing in Tadej's way for a third win here was misfortune, bad luck. He had it, and still he wins.
Exactly, and that's what makes him, I believe, the greatest bike rider of all time. I think he's just such a generational talent. The fact that he can do that, come down in what was a pretty heavy crash. I mean, we saw him tumble over the bars, didn't we? And then still get on and then attack with what, just over or under 19 kilometres to go and win by over a minute. It's just remarkable. The man can do anything. His versatility as a bike rider is just superior, and it's so impressive to see. This is obviously the crash that he sustained, a very hard crash.
Yeah, let's talk through this then, because he's, oh my goodness. Heart in my mouth again, even though I know it's all fine.
Looks worse than it is. No, but it's true though. It's true though. It looks worse than it is. I think, you know, when you see a crash like that, the sliding's great. It's when you come to a complete stop, that's when it's really the worst. But yeah, I think as soon as he jumped back on the bike, and even that last lap then, as you were talking about, he was laughing and joking with the team car. He did that corner again. He came out the corner and put his thumb up to the team car to say, yeah, made it this time round, guys. He's so relaxed as a bike rider that I think that makes him as good as he is, because he can just not worry about the situation. And it's almost like he's not really bothered about the outcome, because he's that confident in winning about it.
It's easy to not be bothered about the outcome when you keep winning, isn't it?
Yeah, but you say that he was so relaxed. I think this crash might be a consequence of being too relaxed.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't focused. If you look at the images when they are cutting into the corner, Tom Pidcock is 1.5 meters more to the right, which allows him to cut down on the apex way more than Pogacar is. And it was just, in my opinion, maybe a lack of concentration.
I also think, though, as well, that he was nervous. Like, I know I've just said he was super relaxed.
He was under pressure from Tom, and he's not used to being in that position.
I think with it is, do you know when Tom attacked and he went over the top of him, that downhill straight after it, Tadej was on the front and he was on the limit, like Tom was even giving him room. And I think it's that nerves having someone like Tom behind you. Any other rider, he might have dropped in that instance. Like last year, it was Simon Clark, I think, behind him. He gapped him on a descent and that was it, long gone bye-bye. So he was maybe thinking, I can do this again, and really pushing it that little bit too much. And just out of every corner, if you're a little bit in front, you get free speed, so you don't have to make that effort. He might have been trying to do it on that corner, I don't know what, but he was... I'm not
Although I do agree with Robbie on commentary, obviously listening to him. I think when Tadej went the first time on Santa Maria, he wasn't going full there. I think he was just testing the legs of Tom when he was with him. And you saw the intent of that second attack when he went, you know, in that race-winning move. The difference in even just his stature, the way he was riding, how aggressive he was in comparison. I think, yeah, maybe a little bit of pressure, but I still think deep down he was so confident he could win.
But you thought also an error at the time, Nathan, because you were explaining to us as we were watching what you would be doing in Strade Bianche with your front wheel at this stage, and maybe he wasn't paying quite as close attention as he should have been doing?
Yeah, I mean, what I was explaining on commentary was that as soon as I exited the sector, I always cleaned my front tire, not only the top, but especially the sides, and even my rear tire. Just did it with the top of my hand with my glove. because when you enter a corner like this, you're going to tilt your bike a little bit to the side, and then you're not going to ride on the top of your tire, but on the side of your tire, that's where the dust is. So yeah, that also might have been a
Hard hands.
I was going to say, please don't try that at home. Yeah, keep your hands on the handlebars at all times, please, children. Nowhere near moving wheels. Nathan is a very experienced professional rider. But this is exactly the kind of thing that we don't think about when we're watching. You know, when we see all bike races as being equal to a certain extent, and obviously the conditions play a massive part in how the bike rider handles those conditions, and the precautions that they take make a big difference.
Oh yeah, of course, makes a huge difference. And I'm not going to say that is the reason why he crashed.
Of course,
Might also be a little bit too confident or just a lack of attention. Maybe there was something on the road that caused the crash, but all these things, they add up, and everything needs to go right in order to make it through such a corner at such speed, because it was quite high speed.